father had one. He had a 1971 350 SL, which he bought late 70s. He didn't buy it from new, but he had that from probably about 76 onwards, I would say, which means around about, I would have been about 9 when he bought that. All very exciting. As you can imagine, that was his, the cliched pride and joy. It is what these cars are all about. The classic cars are about nostalgia. Dad was quite a successful man in the 70s. Things went quite well for him. He was a dentist. He had a practice in the East End of London, which in the 70s was quite a different place to the place it is now. A lot of his patients were social security patients, and free dental treatment ended and a lot of his work disappeared overnight. He tried to mitigate that by expanding. He bought another practice on the other side of town in Wimbledon and started another one up from scratch in West Wickham, near Bromley, where we lived. Unfortunately, that strategy didn't pay off for him. Things went badly. Interest rates went through the roof. The banks foreclosed on him. He lost his house, his business, all his money and his mind. I was the only person at home the morning that the bailiffs turned up. I was 15 and 2 sets of bailiffs arrived. One came to take the house and another to take everything in it. I read the paperwork and tried to understand it as best I could. That was quite a difficult morning, really. The thing I remember very clearly is the car going. Dad knew they were coming. He'd immobilised the car, he'd taken the rotor arm out of the distributor and he'd chained the bonnet shut. He'd also, for reasons best known to him, decided to remove the VIN plate and the spec plate. So the car went. It was like the car was resisting arrest. It went onto the back of a flatbed. It was dragged onto the flatbed with a winch, and I remember it going up with the wheels locked. But he was never really quite the same man again. He certainly never bought another Mercedes. Since he died, I have known about the existence of this book, which is part of his things. It's a Mercedes brochure for an R129 SL. And this is a book that it looks like it's been given to him by somebody, a friend of his. There's a letter to a friend of his here from the dealership saying, come and see us again, we can do great credit, all of that stuff. And he's obviously given this book to my dad, and he's given it to him, I strongly suspect, because Dad still expressed an interest in these cars and probably still aspire to own one again one day, which is kind of poignant because it would have been quite out of reach for him at the time. The R129 was current at that time and not a cheap car at all. But that's quite nice because it kind of affirms that my acquiring an R107 much later as a gesture to my dad. I kind of bought it for my dad, really, and it kind of affirms that was kind of quite a good thing to do. Yes, I was looking for his car, and I did spend a bit of time on that. I'm pretty sure that it's gone. For one thing, minus the VIN plates, it's probably a bit difficult to trace. I've HPI'd it, and it's never been written off, it's never been scrapped, but it isn't taxed. It's been MOT exempt for years, but it isn't taxed. I'm pretty sure it's not on the road. I did kind of quite like the idea of putting the cherry back on the cake, as I like to say, to just put that straight for Dad. That was just something that I felt was appropriate. We'd quite often see a 107s on the road, and whenever we saw one, it was always the same. It was like, oh, there goes Dad, there he is. Dad there he is in his car, you know, it was, you know, you see a 107, that's Robin Davey driving past, and it was absolutely an absolute icon of my dad, and my dad in his best years. The car that I ended up buying was actually a car that I have felt the need to do a bit of work on to improve it. It wasn't a, you know, it wasn't a car that needed completely rebuilding. It was a drivable car that had been looked after. I think you're probably quite fortunate that SLSHOP are obviously up in Warwickshire and Stratford-on-Avon, and if my dad was still here, you'd probably consider yourselves quite fortunate that you were that distance away from where he lived in Kent, because he'd probably be dropping in every other day and chatting to people at great lengths, and never buying a car. I know that if he walked up the driveway this afternoon and saw that I bought one of these things, he'd probably laugh at first, and then I think he'd probably be really touched, and I think he would be amazed at what's possible with the car still. 40 years later, he'd be amazed at the support that's available for it. I think he would genuinely be hugely impressed by everything we've talked about today, actually. Yeah, I guess that's a good place to stop, isn't it?